All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read-alouds there will brighten their day. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Teacher Lady Show. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Behind the Book. I'm Miss Erica, the Teacher Lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. Now, every single week we have a new topic, and this week's topic is all about digital citizenship and online safety. And of course, we are using picture books to help us to learn all about it. This week's featured book is Mitzi and the Big Bad Nosy Wolf, okay? Now, we started this week with the read aloud of this story, so if you have not done so, check that book out on the Teacher Lady Reads playlist and then come right back here for this Behind the Book review where we will be going over the glows, what I think was done well, the grows, what I think could have been done differently, who this book is for, and how do you use it as a resource to have a more robust conversation with your child, okay? All in this episode of Behind the Book, where we go beyond the pages to get to the heart of the story. Summary in my own words. This is the story of Mitzi who wants to explore and runs into a stranger. When that stranger tries to attack her and asks her questions that make her uncomfortable, she remembers what her mother told her, which is what information should be private and what information should be made public. Overall, she figures out that the wolf is not safe and she's able to get home. Take home message in target age group. The take home message is to be mindful of strangers. It is to make sure that you are safe, that you are only sharing information that would not hurt you or backfire. And in terms of age group, I would say 5 years old and up would get the gist of the story. Who this book is for. I would say that this book is for children who don't necessarily understand stranger danger. Although the book is titled as a digital citizenship book, I would say that it's way closer to being a stranger danger book and a book about being more mindful around who you speak to and your surroundings. So if you have a child that struggles with that, this book might be a helpful resource. Glows. I would have to say that the glow for me is that in the back of the book, there is a glossary as well as a game that you can play to make sure that your child understands what information is safe to share and what information is not safe to share. There is also a Mitzi's Rules for Digital Citizenship section where you can read more about what it means to be safe online. Grows. My main grow for this book is that it is titled as a digital citizenship book, yet the main story doesn't have anything to do with digital citizenship. So by the time we get to the end of the book, there is more information and insight about internet safety, but throughout the book, that message is not shown. My main grow would be to make sure that I guess we're focusing in on the topic we're trying to get across because that can be very confusing for children. I do feel like online safety and in-person safety are two different forms of safety. Stranger danger in person should be handled differently than stranger danger in, online. You can't block a person in person. And so I think that the author really went around or really went about this topic in terms of general safety and just staying safe in general. But I think it would have been way more impactful if the focus was on actual digital citizenship. So even having a story with the lamb and the wolf where maybe they meet online and the wolf is trying to talk to her online and is in his chat box, but in person doesn't really work for it to be a digital citizenship safety book. Discussions to have with your child, I would focus on the back of the book if you add this to your collection, because in the back of the book, there are some resources and some guides for you to be able to hold conversations around digital safety. There are some games that she gives, some glossary insight, and some tips and some tricks. So I would use that part of the book as the resource for having a discussion with my child around internet safety. My final thoughts is that we need more books on the topic of digital citizenship. I will say that it was hard to find any books around internet safety the way that I was looking to. And so I think that this is a great start. I think that as parents and as educators, this is something we need to constantly be discussing. And any tool that helps us to start the conversation is one that is appreciated. Thank you so much for learning with me, for growing with me, for being part of this book community. And be sure to check out the Teacher Lady Speaks episode on Friday, where I let you know how you can make sure or try to make sure that your child is as safe as possible online. Until next time, you remember to enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. Bye.